$5 one day and yeah, I'm like, then when it goes the next. Well, I was very on flat home. Oh, she can just keep. Hey, comes. You want to get another?
Yes, we are at 77% today, or 77% today. We have a couple of guests. We have a visiting Rotary from Miamisburg, Carolyn Kilpatrick. All right. She's also our AG. Amanda Hayes has a guest.
Tom Collins.
Katie has a guest.
How do you keep that box?
And she's running for state central committee.
I know.
Wow.
And I have
You got this little jacket.
and Zach upstairs. And then my lovely wife, Amanda.
Guys.
Sure. Dan, would you like to get the invitation, sir? Thank you. Would you join me in prayer? As we begin this time together, we are mindful of those throughout the world who are in the midst of a difficult times. In rescue workers and government leaders throughout the world, as they assess and to begin to work through these tragedies, give them wisdom and be with the individuals who are suffering. Show us ways that we can be helpful. Amen.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Chris. You ready? Well, they're really glad to tell we got 7%.
All right, good afternoon, fellow Rotarians, and hello again to all of our guests, Carolyn, Zach, Noel, Amanda, and Tom. And of course, our incredible speakers who will be up here shortly. And welcome again to the Rotary Club of Beavercreek and happy 4th Country Song Music Title Day. Now, titles like I Wouldn't Take Her to a Dogfight Because I'm Afraid She'd Win reminds us that country music does not hold back, just like our Sergeant at Arms finds, because no one is safe except for our speakers, because the two guys that will be up here shortly, I want to remain on the good side of. Moving on to birthdays and anniversaries, if we can take a moment for the man of the hour, past president, current, still going, perfect attendance, Stephen Brown has a birthday today. For some partner, Brian, I hope you remember on the 30th, your lovely wife Karen will celebrate her birthday. We have some member anniversaries. President David Brandenburg will be celebrating 4 years on the 1st, and that's no April Fool's joke, along with Jack Henderson, who will be celebrating 34 years on the 1st. Wedding anniversaries, Shannon and Brenda Graham will be celebrating 23 years on the 29th. Moving on to some good things that happened today in history. Going back 2,221 years ago today, the decree of Memphis proclaiming the rule of one of the kings in Egypt was carved in 3 languages on a black sandstone block around the 2 script were Egyptian hieroglyphics, and then the bottom was in ancient Greek, and the block today is known as Rosetta Stone. I don't remember that. I know, that was like right around when you were born, right? Speaking of things that Jonas may remember, in 1987, U2 performed on the roof of a store in downtown LA to make the video for Where the Streets Have No Name. That attracted thousands of spectators, bringing traffic to a standstill, and police eventually had to stop them, which, if you remember back in the day, is not as bad as when you bought an iPhone and YouTube had their album preloaded on your phone that you could not get off for the longest time ever, taking up that precious memory. Then going on to 2007, one of my favorite ones, the NFL owners voted to make instant replay a permanent officiating tool. For some fun things to celebrate, Saturday, we have National Weed Appreciation Day. And that is not the weed that's illegal, but also kind of legal, but also still illegal. It'd be the weeds that are in flower gardens, things of that nature. Saturday is also Respect Your Cat Day, which sounds made up. Sunday, one of our favorites, we have National Mom and Pop Business Owner Day. And then a good day for all of our salespeople here, National Smoke and Mirrors Day. Monday, we have National Take a Walk in the Park Day, as long as it's not cold like it is today. And then we have Grass is Browner on the other side of the fence, which is a playful nudge to stop the endless game of comparing your lives to other people. Tuesday, we have National Prom Day. We also have World Backup Day, which, take it from me, who accidentally deleted 2 years of photos a long time ago that I thought I had backed up and did not. That was a fun discovery. Wednesday, we got a good one for Beth. We have Library Snapshot Day and Edible Book Day.
Edible.
I'm not sure if any of the books at the library are edible. I also recommend don't try to find out if they are or not. And then Thursday, we have Don't Walk Your Dog Day and National Ride Your Horse to a Bar Day. Some other things to do for next week. Tomorrow, if you like bourbon and chocolate, the Rotary Club of Hamilton will have their Bourbon and Chocolate Festival from 6 to 10 p.m. And I believe tickets are still available through their Facebook page. Thursday, our friends of the chamber will have their Young Professional Service Project, which I think only 2 of us qualify for in here. That'll be over at Lafino Park from 4:30 to 6. And then our friends at Greene County Parks and Trails will be hosting a full moon / pink moon hike at Russ Nature Reserve from 7:30 to 8:30. Moving on to some Beavercreek School awesomeness. If you're a past graduate or if your loved one is a past graduate of Beavercreek High School, hop onto the library's website where they now have a digital version of all the high school yearbooks. So for a lot of us that cannot make that young professionals group, you can go back and see what we all look like with long hair and crazy specs and outfits as well. 1960 to 2010. So if you graduate before 60, you are in the clear. All right, not too many other awesomeness as we are ramping up for spring break, but we did have the women's varsity lacrosse team lose to Kings, and that's the school, not the place down the street with the world's greatest tater tots. The men's varsity lacrosse team unfortunately lost to Pickerington North, but the men's JV lacrosse team tied Pickerington North. And now moving on to the favorite part, today's fines. If you're not wearing your badge, that'll be $1. If you are late, that'll be $1. If you have ever gone to prom, that'll be $1. And if you have ever, nope, that was last week's. So that'll be it. All right. David, time for some happy buzz.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Is that pretty much?
Everybody have any happy buzz? Tell us about it. I'm sorry. You should direct.
I just want to say we got through yesterday and there's a lot of people in the room that had these presentations. And although we weren't hit by a tornado, we didn't get that storm. There was another kind of storm that flew through that place.
Anybody else have any happy buzz? I do. I'm very happy to be your AG. I was here way back in September. I was the first kids I had to be leader again, so you'll be seeing more of me. Well, you always know. AG.
Ryla camp happened this past weekend. It was a success. Of course, we're nitpicky, so we found things that we want to improve. But as far as the students' outcome and their peace projects that they came up with, that they're going to be going back out to their community and trying to get their clubs to get behind them to make these things happen in their community, it's going to be very exciting to follow. This one is for our president, David, first time coming out and being a counselor with our students for the entire weekend.
Yeah.
And this one is, there is a Vietnam veteran free buffet at the VFW this Sunday at 5 p.m. sponsored by the Beavercreek VFW. All Vietnam veterans are invited free of charge, 5 o'clock on Sunday, the 29th.
Very nice. Eric?
So I'm gonna give a bunch of happy bucks today. Yesterday, I got a text from my granddaughter saying what a great grandfather I was, followed by a son.
Any more happy bucks?
Yeah.
Yeah, fine. Let's be safe.
Want to give you thank you bucks to the folks that showed up at the event I had last night. Speaker House was there. My vice chair drove all the way down to Bean County. And also a happy buck for Noel and braving the storm as it were. I like her very much, and we'd love to get everyone's support with her run. Thank you.
Anybody else got any happy bucks? Yes, sir.
I wasn't paying attention last week when you announced that 40 years of Rotary.
I just paid my happy buck too, because I did have a good weekend at Ryland this past weekend. I'm not gonna say kids, those young adults were amazing. How they work together. I've never seen anybody before, the other ones. There's people from different countries, different races, and they just melded in together, did a fantastic job. It was fun. Oh, we might probably do it again.
Yeah, throw the list.
You don't know when number? Thank you, girl. Okay, the last three numbers is 823. 823. State didn't.
No,
Don't go.
What time?
While he's thinking about his card, I had told you how many days you had to Halloween. It's 218 days. For those ones. What? So.
announcement.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. For those of you that have told me that you would sponsor a home or whatever at the store, please get your money in. I need to get the signs made sometime soon. We've had credit signed up yesterday, so I'm really happy about that. And then I'm gonna need golfers. So we got 16s already, but I want to fill it up. So if you know anybody who wants to play golf, get them signed up. The police department's gonna have a team there, several others. So we'll try to get the dollars in as quick as you can, and get the signs made.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Still need golf. All right, I'd like to introduce Brian Lampton, not that I need to, I think everybody knows Brian. You can swear right away.
All right, thank you. My fellow Rotarians, very pleased to have a new inductee to our club today. So at this time, Heather Shannon, would you please stand and be recognized?
Yeah.
Heather was born in Des Moines, Iowa. Now you gotta keep Dad right. Beth got it. Her father is a physician. He moved their practice with her uncles to Beavercreek when she was age 4. Graduated Beavercreek High School. She played volleyball and softball. She earned her bachelor's in political science from Wright State University, and then her GED from my alma mater, the University of Dayton School of Law. She moved to Bellbrook and started practice at Stephan and Barrett in Xenia. Heather now works at the probate court in Montgomery County as a magistrate since 2022. Now, she met her husband, Nick, here in Beavercreek, while he was the lead vocalist for a local band called Element, now called Ithaca. You'll have to ask her about the rest of that story. Her husband, Nick, is a graphic designer. I believe he still sings. Yes. They have 4 children, Sophia, age 14, Sonia, age 13, Jameson, age 8, and Scarlett, age 3. God love you. Sonia is an orange belt in Taekwondo, and the 13-year-old is involved in musicals and taking guitar lessons. I asked Heather about the coolest place she's ever been. She said it was Rome, Italy, the excellent food and the ancient ruins in the modern city. And she knew it right off. Coolest place, she said, oh, that was Rome. Heather enjoys painting, doing arts and crafts with the kids. And now she's also currently campaigning for the Republican nomination for Greene County probate judge. Her Rotary sponsor is Dave Kuzak. Now, Heather, you may be seated. My friends, these words don't only apply to our new inductee, but to all of us. Membership in Rotary is a privilege. Members are given the opportunity to become more involved in our community and provide aid to all parts of the world. Now, involvement is the key to getting the most out of your membership. Volunteer to serve on a committee. These activities will help get you to know our fellow club members, along with learning and developing leadership and organizational skills. The Beavercreek Rotary is the service club of choice for those who make Beavercreek the wonderful community that it is today. Now, Rotary members are expected to attend our regular meetings, and you can make up by visiting neighboring Rotary clubs. Eric will ask you for a prompt response to your quarterly invoice. We also ask that you participate in the Paul Harris Fellow Program. When you donate a certain amount of money in a given time, you earn the Paul Harris Fellow. You get the Paul Harris prestigious Paul Harris pin. Leaders are doers, not watchers. There are so many opportunities to serve with this club. Projects including our annual dictionary project, Christmas basket delivery, and of course, service on the board. We recognize and award our members for perfect attendance, participation in Paul Harris Fellow programs, past presidents of our club, and service, again, on our board of directors. Paul Harris Fellows are recognized to have donated $1,000 or more to the annual programs fund, Polio Plus, for the humanitarian grants program. Many of our Rotarians have achieved multiple Paul Harris Awards. Membership in Rotary is an honor and a privilege, treated with respect and dignity. Wear your Rotary pin everywhere with pride. Most importantly, practice the principles and values of Rotary in your daily business and personal life. The motto of Rotary is quite simple: service above self. Make this motto part of your life. We expect that you'll be involved with our club. That's why you've been invited to join. Rotarians are leaders and have the desire to improve our community and the world around us. So at this time, Heather, will you please come forward with your sponsor, Councilor Cusack? And we have a pin. It is a magnet, so that'll be easy for you.
You'd assume Shannon.
Well, yeah, we do assume that, yes.
Councilor Hill. All right, this is somebody to sit. One more smile. That's pretty good, isn't it?
It is very strong. Ladies and gentlemen, our newest Rotarian, Heather.
Just Mr. President. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. So one quick order of business before we get into our speakers. We've got a request. Let me read it here to you. For funds. Come on, Dave. Okay. So Beavercreek Schools are doing a thank you for all the teachers and staff. And they're having a breakfast and a lunch. And they give them little gifts and stuff. And we're going to, if our staff, our members here would like to make a donation to that and help fund this thing. We want the teachers and staff to have a good day. They always do have a nice one. Is there a motion to make a donation?
Do you have a suggested amount, Mr. President?
Pardon?
Do you have a suggested amount, Mr. President?
Well, they said, the kind of limit is $250, but we can do $100, $200, $50. Anybody like to make a motion to that?
Uh,
move we donate $250.
I'll second it.
Any discussion on the motion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. All right. Dave? And Scott? Y'all ready to go?
Your introduction.
I don't think we need an introduction. I think we could be taking something away from what's important.
Oh, no, but I think you can do that. Thank you. Good city. Sure. Let's do it. That's your mind, mine's ready.
Yep.
Yes, it's always an honor and privilege to be here to speak to you. I think the last time I was here, I was talking about the new jail. Since then, we've been in it for over a couple months now. It's working out really good. So the people that we're talking about today, a lot of them, I want to give them a place to stay there. Because there's so much to this kind of thing going on. It just keeps evolving. And I know we'll be speaking to the choir here a little bit, so bear with us, but there's a lot of things that even this morning, so every single day I learned about new ways that people are trying to take your money. Look around, I know David Kuzak with his clients, and anytime we're dealing with people that are having a hard time, even cognitively, or like my parents, as an example, we're not that way at all, and we're close to part of being victim to these scams, so it can happen to everybody. So it's very important. I always tell everybody, this is David's presentation. He invited me back a little bit after I became sheriff to do 6 of these, and I thought, my goodness, I'm drinking out of a fire hose. How am I ever going to do that? But I think we're like at number 47 or now. So I always tell everybody, he's Marty and I'm Joe. So I'm just the old left hand around third. He's the guy. So I just try to add some realistic things that I'm seeing in the county for the presentation. So thank you for letting us be here today.
Thanks, Sheriff. The reason that we've done 46 of these is I've been a prosecutor for 22 years. In November, it'll be 22 years that I've been with the office. And during that time, I've encountered a lot of heartbreaking cases that involve fraud, that involve scams, that involve circumstances where the criminal justice system, as it is currently constituted, really it's reactive by its nature. And with a lot of fraud and scam crimes, it's almost impossible for the criminal justice system to recoup the losses that people suffer, or to hold the offender accountable. And I'll explain why that is in just a minute. We tailored this presentation originally for seniors, so it's still titled that on the slide there that you see, but the reality is this applies to everybody. Everybody can benefit from understanding how to prepare themselves and defend themselves against scams. Now, how many of you want to guess the number of scams that are out there? Oh, as innumerable as the stars in the sky. Right? As the grains of sand on the beach. The reality is that there are so many different scams that it would be impossible to go over each of them and try to prepare you that way. So what we have decided is that we focus on some commonalities. But before we get to the commonalities, let me just describe for you the scope of the problem. So seniors are getting scammed. In the United States in 2023, there were 100,000 reported cases of elder fraud with a loss of over $3.4 billion to be. This crime is significantly underreported. Does anybody want to guess why this crime would be underreported? They are embarrassed. Absolutely.
Some people don't know they've been scammed.
That's right. And then there's another reason, particularly with seniors, why they don't want anybody to know this is happening.
Oh. The kids will put them away.
Exactly. Because they make the logical leap from embarrassment to people are gonna think I'm senile because I fell for this. And of course, that just adds to the embarrassment and it adds to the apprehension to bring this to light. But I will tell you, in the time that the sheriff and I have been doing these presentations, we have been approached by countless people. A bank president who was taken in, a PhD psychologist who was taken in. These scams work against anybody. They have the possibility. It's not a guard against these to simply say, "Well, I know better. I'm smart enough. I'll never fall for this." Because the number of people who fit that category and fell for it anyway is pretty significant. The average loss per incident was $33,000. And of the reported cases, nearly 6,000 people lost over $100,000 in cash. So it's not just seniors, it's everybody. So it's everybody else is losing as well. The total reported fraud, loss to fraud in 2024 was over $12 billion. So it's real, it exists, and I'm guessing by show of hands, how many of you have been not the victim of a fraud, but at least solicited by somebody that you thought was a scammer? Yeah, exactly. Everybody. So what do scammers want? Money. They want your money. And what do they do to get it? Anything. Just about anything possible. All right. So they want to separate you from their money. As I mentioned before, why are we here? We're here, first of all, because prevention is the key. You know the expression that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. That is nowhere more true than in this circumstance. Because as I mentioned before, if you become the victim of a scam, especially if the scam is perpetrated by international criminals, the chances of you getting your money back is not good. Sheriff, do you have jurisdiction in Cuba?
I'm sure I know.
Jurisdiction in the Ukraine, Indonesia, Taiwan, Vietnam? Nope. And do you think these scammers are in Urbana? Or Greenville? No, of course not. Maybe they might be, and I have nothing against California, but they might be on the West Coast. Let's face it. Or maybe New York, but it's probably not in Cedarburg. So the ability of the criminal justice system to respond to is going to be limited. We want everybody to make sure you should not be ashamed if you are victimized. Because many scams are perpetrated, as I said, by multinational, international criminals. And once your money is lost, the likelihood of recovery is low. And in many cases, it's going to be zero. Now, as I mentioned before, the sheer number of scams would take us a week to get through. And that's probably just the major scam. So we can't cover every scam, but we have identified some commonalities. And as a result, we have some advice. So the first thing we got to do is define what a scam is. How are we defining what a scam is? Well, the first thing is that it is a communication, right? And that communication can take place in any way that people are capable of communicating. It can be text, it can be email, it can be cell phone, landline, regular phone. How many of you still have your landline telephone? Anybody? Right? I'm calling you out. I persisted. Many of you know my wife. She's a Rotarian here. I persisted for years getting rid of the landline. Every year she'll say, "We need to get rid of the landline." And I'd say, "I don't want to get rid of the landline." She'd say, "Why?" And I say, I'm not sure. I just don't want to. It's like my whoopee, for my blanket. I just don't want to do it. But I will tell you this, for most people, your landline is nothing more. It's nothing more than a hotline for scammers. Because how many of you, when you need to talk to somebody that you care about, or a conversation that's important, do it on your landline? Not many of you. And when somebody that you love and who's important to you calls you, how do they do it? With your cell phone, not with your landline. So I'm not telling you to get rid of the landline. I'm not against giving your money to AT&T, but you may want to rethink it. So during the course of that communication, there's an individual who begins a dialogue with you, all right? And in that initial conversation, they are going to try to make you afraid. They are going to threaten you. They are going to promise you money, or they're going to promise you companionship. And the attempts will be made to get your money directly, or the attempts will be made to get information from you in an effort to separate you from your money. They may want to try to get your personal identifying information. Anybody got some examples of what that is? What is PII? What is, give me an example.
Social Security.
Social Security number, what else?
Dog's name.
Your dog's name? Passwords, yeah. Have you seen those little things that crop up on
That's what I
Facebook?
was thinking.
What street did you grow up on?
Yeah.
The name of the street you grew up in. And what was your first dog's name? That's all garbage. So never answer that. But so that's what we're defining as a scam, all right? So remember the red flags. The single most common denominator for this scam is that the communication you receive is unsolicited. You did not seek it out. It has come to you. It has come to you in the form of a text message that you did not anticipate. It has come to you in the form of an email that you did not anticipate, a phone call to your house, a letter to your house. And in that unsolicited communication, there is going to be a demand for money. All right? And they're going to try to do it immediately. And the payment is going to be requested. It could be requested in a very strange way. They may want you to pay in gift cards. They may want you to make a wire transfer. But the point is that it's untraceable on the back end. And you may be asked to click a link to solve a problem. All right? That's one that is going around. And that's the common scam about your computer's about to crash. Have you seen those? It comes up on your computer, comes up on your phone. Never click anything. So if you don't remember anything else from this presentation, remember the single biggest red flag is that you are receiving an unsolicited communication, and during that first communication, they are trying to get your money. So normally we have several different types of examples that we give, but because we're on sort of a truncated schedule, I'm just going to focus on two. One is an immediate scam, and then one is what I call the long con, and that's the romance scam. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But the government imposter scam. You're sitting at home, you get a phone call from somebody that says they work for a government agency. Now, for seniors, it's probably going to be the IRS, Medicare, Social Security, or they may pretend to be the Greene County Sheriff's Office. There was a Sunday, probably 6 or 7 years ago, so before I was the elected prosecutor. And I don't think it could have been during football season because I was making dinner. So I was making dinner in the kitchen, and then the phone rings, and the person on the other end of the phone says, "This is the Greene County Sheriff's Office, and we have a warrant for your arrest." It's a great surprise to me, as you can imagine. I didn't remember breaking the law, excluding it as a possibility, of course, but I had no recollection of it. So, I just told the person on the phone, I said, "Hey, I work right around the corner from you, so I'll just pop in there tomorrow morning, and we'll get this all figured out." But of course, they hung up the phone. Now, at the time I was an assistant prosecutor. At the time, I knew I didn't have a warrant for my arrest. And I also knew at the time that if I could clear it up simply by calling somebody at the sheriff's office. Also, just spoiler alert, in case you're curious, Chief, do you usually give people a heads up? Do you call them and say, "Hey, we got a warrant for you"? Huh? I usually. That's the kind of thing they like to surprise people with. They don't want people to know. So if they're calling your house and telling you got a warrant, it's garbage. But with the IRS, Medicare, and Social Security, it's a whole different matter altogether. So they'll tell you that if you have overdue taxes, you have a warrant for your arrest. They will threaten an immediate arrest, or they'll threaten to seize assets if you don't pay them. And they threaten to end your benefits if you don't provide your personal identifying information. So they'll want your login information for Social Security. or your social security number, all those things. And Sheriff, did you want to talk about what's going on with you and how you have dealt with this?
Yes, the one that we're talking that you missed jury duty and you have a warrant, still live and well, happening all the time with IA added into it now, with using real deputies and sergeants' names and all that. That is live and well. That's probably one of our biggest scams. But I was going to touch on like a rapid fire here at the end, but these romance scams, we just had one within the last month here in the county that was $297,300 lost to the victim that we know of. And our detectives have been going up every rabbit hole they can because we know, like Prosecutor Hayes says, that there's very little that we can do. I mean, it goes into different countries and different things, different masks that they have on it. But we just had one of those, and it's the long con. But that one was, it really started in November and just kind of culminated here. But we also know that it went way before that. That was just when it was probably reported for the first time. Because once these people get on the people's radar as far as being a victim, then they just are relentless. And we have another one that Prosecutor Hayes and I sat down with the victim on that was hundreds of $1,000s getting up to the $1 million or the $500,000 part, where we actually had an hour conference with this individual trying to tell them that they were being victimized. And they didn't believe us. And other than this one part of their mentality or the Kool-Aid they were drinking, that was the only part of them that they were totally fine mentally. So we couldn't really do anything in that regard to stop it. So that was really, really one of the examples. The one that's real relevant now is Bitcoin. How many of you in here use Bitcoin, if you don't mind? Nobody? Does anybody have any? How many people? How many numbers are there in a Bitcoin account? Does anybody want to tell me? Does anybody know? If you see a piece of paper that has lots of numbers on it, especially if it's a loved one or somebody that you care about or a vulnerable person, yeah, the Bitcoin account numbers have letters and different symbols, and it's between 23 and 63 characters. So Bitcoin's the big thing. So we're getting 75 to 80-year-old people now that are having some problems, that are lonely, and they're going to these Bitcoin machines, which I knew and found out in the immediate Xenia area. There's 24 of those in our stores. And so we just had one for $10,000 where a person was told that they were on a porn site and that their computer was going to be taken over and call Microsoft. They went through the portal of making this phone call, went to the Bitcoin ATM. It wasn't that long ago I didn't know Bitcoin ATMs existed. Gave them $10,000, and of the $10,000, the other crime, Brian, this is a good one for your people, just like the payday loans and things. The amount of the $10,000, the scammer, it's kind of a ripoff for him. He only got $7,300 of it because Athena ATM got $2,700 of the scam. So I don't know which scammer's worse. So I'm learning new things, but we have these things going on in the county. One of the most proud moments with the new jails, I got to go through with the grand jury yesterday and show them the new jail. And just, when you're on the grand jury, I know the people in here that have actually presented or been on the grand jury know it, but you learn a lot of things that go on in the county that you never dreamed, because you don't read it in the police blotter. Nobody has any idea, but there's just so many of these things going on in the county that like you said, there's too numerous to mention, but I'll mention some more here and there.
Thanks, Sheriff.
Thank you.
So, but the sheriff always mentions that if you get when you get hit up for money for the cops, what's your advice for them?
Yeah, my advice is, if it's a local that you're familiar with, your local FOP, somebody you've given. There's a lot of even on the police side that are out of state. Just know who you're giving your money to, and there's several of them that we all probably in this room, speaking to the choir, know are legit. But yeah, there's many charities that are not legit.
That's true. My next advice for you with regard to charities is just understand that there is no charity, that there's no legitimate charity that will only take your money on a Tuesday. All right? They will take your money on Wednesday. They will take it on Thursday and Friday. So if you're talking to somebody who tells you you have to do it right now, then you're probably talking to somebody who's trying to scam. So keep that in mind. Now, back to the government imposter scam. So how do you protect yourself from this scam? First, watch out for the red flag, which is an unsolicited demand for money accompanied by a threat. The first time that you're communicating with somebody and they are threatening you and saying that bad things are going to happen to you unless you give them money, that is the biggest red flag. Slam down the phone. And of course, if they say, I'm from the IRS, you owe us money, or if they say I'm from Social Security, we're going to end your benefits, what's the easiest thing for you to do? Call them. Hang up the phone and just call them. The IRS will happily share with you if you owe them money, I promise. And Medicare, and there is no entitlement program, not a single one that can be terminated via telephone. All right. So if anybody is threatening to terminate an entitlement program over the phone, they are lying to you. Now, I do want to mention that don't be fooled by phone numbers because they can be spoofed. You know what spoofing is? Yeah. You can look at your phone and it will have a 202 area code and it will say Medicare and where it will say Social Security on your caller ID. All right. Do not believe it. Do not believe it. Do not believe anybody that you have never spoken to before just because they call you on the phone. I always tell people, if you're confronted with a situation, just imagine that you're on the street. Imagine you're simply walking down the street and somebody that you have never met before simply walks up to you and says, I'm with the IRS, give me $10,000 right now, or I'm going to arrest you. What would you do? Oh. Yeah, you laugh at them, you walk away, you think they were crazy. And that's the way you need to treat anybody who communicates with you in a similar manner. Now, why does it work? Well, it works because people have a residual respect for authority. That's especially true in older generations. We just believe people because we believe people. We can't imagine why somebody would lie about that. But of course, people do because they want your money. So just keep that in mind. Now, the sheriff mentioned this, and we'll talk about it briefly. The romance scam. This is the long con. So, remember I told you originally, one of the biggest red flags is an immediate demand for money. Okay? And that's going to be 99% of the scams. Because scammers don't really have a lot of time to devote to this activity. They want to get your money now, they want to move on with their lives. But the romance scam is different. And the romance scam works as follows. You're going to meet somebody on a social media website. Or you might meet them in a chat room. I don't know if they still have those. Huh? Hey, I guarantee you that they still have them. All right. They have them. Somebody has a coaching club chat room. I promise you. Now, you can communicate electronically, and you may even speak to the person over the phone. You will talk to somebody over the phone. All right. And you will see their picture because they will send you pictures. You will see pictures of their children, maybe their grandchildren. You'll see pictures of their house. You'll see pictures of their garden. If gardening is an interest that you share with them, you will see it all. But I promise you, you will never meet in person. Because again, the person, do you think they live in Yellow Springs? No. Do you think they live in Cincinnati or Erlanger? No. They live somewhere exotic. They live in London, live in Paris. The board can, I don't want to give too many details away, but the case that the sheriff was talking about where the poor victim lost $300,000. That person was represented themselves to be a Vietnamese national doing business in the Netherlands. And during the course of your communication with this person, as they develop an emotional attachment with you, they are going to tell you that the only thing that they need to make both of your dreams come true is what? Money. Money. And they will need it for plane tickets. They will need it for, I've heard this one and it works, surgery for a grandchild. and who has to have emergency surgery. The family can't come up with the money. This is a big, in 2023, the estimated US loss just for romance scams is $1.14 billion. So, how do you protect yourself? I tell people the same thing. Give your heart away if you must, but keep your money. You know, I will tell you the same thing I told my children growing up, my two daughters. You will get over a broken heart. I promise you are not going to get over losing $300,000, especially if you are in your 70s. It's simply not going to happen. The time to recuperate that is probably behind you. When I first developed this, I told my kids that I was going to put in here, don't meet anybody online. And they both laughed at me. They said, Dad, everybody meets online. Right. But you should avoid relationships that exist exclusively online. If you don't meet somebody, then you're walking yourself into not only a heartbreak, but also a crime. And watch out for the red flags. The demand for money, request for personal identifying information. I'm going to turn this over to the sheriff, but I'm going to reiterate my red flags here. Remember, the communication is unsolicited. You have received a communication you did not expect, and in that communication, somebody is asking you for your money. And to get your money, they want you to be afraid, or they want to threaten you. That is a scam. Hang up the phone and verify the information yourself. And I just add this one in there. Never click on anything ever, ever, ever. Not on your computer, not in a text chain. Never. Do not click on anything. All right, Sheriff.
Thank you. I'll try to go to rapid fire, but that first one on the, or the one he was just talking about on the scam that came in the last month, started out with gift cards. Then the second step was $71,000 out of their 401k. And then before it was over, this individual was taking out loans to give money, at this age, taking out loans. And still at the time they reported it with their son, did not believe that this was a scam still. So, what we really need to do is watch out for each other. Because I know we sit here sometimes and think it's ridiculous, but I don't care whether it's at church, wherever you go and you see people, we just really need to protect the vulnerable and really keep our eyes open. Happened with my own mother and dad. They very intelligent people. They knew they could call me anytime. They fell for the grandparent scam. They thought something was going on with one of the grandkids. And whatever, it just hit them just right. They did it just right that day. They went to Kroger, was going to give $2,700 to a wire. And luckily the lady knew him at the Kroger, said, hey, I don't think you want to do that. And there are some good people that do that once in a while. It doesn't always happen because they got their little things they can and can't do too. But that happened in their case where they said, I don't think you want to do that. You need to call your son.
Sheriff, could you just explain the grandparent scam is?
Yeah, the grandparent scam is that they get a hold of you with some kind of a tragedy. They pose as one of the grandkids, and they actually say that they've either been in a car accident or they've been hurt or they're in jail. And they'll act like, you'll hear crying. So you won't, at that point, you're just so upset. You don't know, it's your grandkid, and they tell you, don't tell anybody. That's another big clue. Don't tell anybody. And then now with AI, though, they can go on your Facebook accounts and get your videos. And now the actual voices sound like your grandkids. So again, these people are really good. And one of the things I wanted to say before I forget, as I was telling you about these Bitcoin machines, and believe it or not, that's where a lot of them are going now. People have never heard of Bitcoin are following these directions right to still talking to somebody on the phone and doing this. But you may, if you intervene quick enough within 10 to 15, 14 days, we've been, our detectives work hard on these things, but they really go nowhere. But they found that they can get those fees back sometimes. That might be the only thing. I don't want to give you false hope, but that's why I say we have to pay attention, because people don't tell you these things until it's been a year or it's been 5 years ago or whatever. So that's why we as people just have to look out for each other.
And I just want to add on to that. I know that I have told you that there's not much we can do. I don't want it in any way to discourage you from reporting. So if you are the victim, if you know somebody who is a victim, report it to the Local police department reported to the FBI. Call my office if you want to. We'll point you in the right direction for a couple reasons. Because there are circumstances. First of all, there are circumstances, as the sheriff just mentioned, where we can do something about it. But secondly, the sheriff has his app, and he shares information about scams through that app. And how many subscribers do you have now?
Well, like on our Facebook, and we have them connected, we have 27,000, but believe it or not, that's the best way for us to communicate. So when something new comes up, or we've had old scams that are just reoccurring, we try to get it out. Beavercreek Police does a lot. We tag off of them sometimes to just try to get the word out. But that absolutely, the awareness part is important. So again, most of you know how to get a hold of me. I'll leave some of my business cards here. But I always tell everybody, if you're in doubt and they're telling you to do something, please call a deputy, call somebody, just call and get advice. The app is the Greene County, Ohio Sheriff's app. If you don't know that, it's a pretty good app. It's got all kinds of information. It's also good because you don't have to call dispatch to ask them the questions. You can actually, most people nowadays like to use their phones to get information. So that app has been a very beneficial thing for us. So I was going to touch on. Like I say, there's just so many scams that we won't have time to touch on today, but these tech support scams have been hot again here lately. It's the fake Microsoft, and just telling you that your computer's been hacked. One you'll see a lot on TV that we just like to talk about is the title fraud. You all see that? Does anybody have that kind of protection? Just so you know, Joe Kennedy's office at the recorders, they do have the ability to go online or go into their office, and you can sign up for that service for free. So they will be able to notify you just as quick as the other one. And I'm happy to say I called there this morning because I wanted to have a fresh idea. We've been lucky in Greene County so far. That stuff happens a lot, but we have not had too much of that. So I would just say, if you don't want to sign up for that service that you see in commercials for all the time, you can sign up for free at the Greene County Recorder's Office. Fraudulent job offers are big right now. You gotta pay money up front to get a job. We went through COVID, everybody still remembers it, everybody got used to working at home, and everybody's looking for that perfect thing that fits them. And now they see it and it looks too good to be true. It probably is too good to be true. Sports tickets things, I'm learning now. I know what a wallet is on my phone, and I think I went to my first UD game and had to use some tickets, and I'm still nervous when I get there, like, is this really gonna work? Because I don't have a stuff in my pocket. And then, there's a lot of concerts and they go for big money. And I had no idea that David Hayes was a big Swiftie fan. So we started doing these things they're talking about. But really, sports things, you really have to be, those are big time fraud cases that we take. A lot of people love their pets. We a lot of pet schemes that you buy out of state, exotic pets, paying up front. We get those a lot. Of course, we get the Craigslist things that happen, people that show up and they got fraud going on. Just trying to do rapid fire because I know we're.
Sheriff, could you just let folks know if they do set up an internet buy and sell, that they have an option?
Yes, if you, I know Beavercreek Township has a nice convenient place, but if you do that, make sure that you do it in a public place. We have a new building out there. We have lots of cameras. You could do it at Walmart. But, if you live somewhere remote and you're asking a stranger to come to your house and do a transaction and, it's going to be cash, that's not going to be a good thing. So prevention is the key there. Freezing your credit. I mean, if you think you've been compromised or you think somebody else has been compromised, tell them to freeze your credit. Because all that is people that are my age or we know when we used to get a loan, it took a couple of days, back when I got my first loan, to find out if you got approved or not. That's all really freezing is you got to unfreeze it. But if you're at that point where you're not getting loans or your house is paid off or whatever else, you don't need to keep your credit line open. So limiting those is a big thing, a big help. Like I say, the one that really gets people that I get calls on all the time to somebody calling with a family emergency. It could be grandparent scam, but it also can be an abduction. And they say it's your daughter and they've been taken hostage and they're gonna be raped. And pastors and just people I know call me up and say, we just got this. I mean, they're rattled. And then, I mean, again, they can keep that immediacy of the tragedy, and you just lose all your thoughts when you hear it's your daughter, your granddaughter, or whatever. And you just don't think we have to stop and go, we need to verify. And it just doesn't happen a lot of times. So families should have a code word, some kind of code word where they can use. And if somebody calls and said, my parents told me to do this, or this is happening, they don't know that code word. But if it's immediate like that, it's probably going to be a scam. See, and then we always talk about the state dinner invite. I'll do it real quick.
Yeah.
But it's getting worse. It used to be Plymouth. Now it's Texas Roadhouse. David could I can probably tell you a lot of stories about that. But yeah. No, it's they get you there and they try to get all your personal information. They may if they're not legit, they may take it all in the back room and they may go through it and they may just figure out who the targets are. So those things happen. So as much as I like Texas Roadhouse, I usually used to put up the one that had my name on it because I still get them all the time.
Yeah.
But again, this is just an area that we know that is not going to do anything but change. And just before I get done, I just want to say, if we didn't teach anything at all today, just never trust somebody that does acupuncture. So stab you in the back. So I have time to talk about the imposter journalist things that go on. So a lot of you know about that, but we're just touching into that area. So,
Sure, absolutely. I know we've got a little bit we're exactly on time. So any questions? I don't want to keep this, I don't want to extend this meeting unnecessarily.
Yeah.
So,
The computers are one thing, but telephone ringing, should you even answer it if you don't know who it is?
if it's your landline,
No,
anything?
cell phone.
I don't. Like if somebody really needs to get a hold of me, they will leave a message. If somebody that I need to talk to, they'll leave a message. And if they don't leave a message, that's a pretty good idea.
They'll either call you back or they'll call you back 600 times.
Absolutely. Okay.
Have you given this presentation to schools,
Like for children?
high schools and so on? The reason I'm asking, in my own personal family, it wasn't in my family, but the connection to my family is that it was a very young person, less than 20, over 18, out of high school, that lost a lot of money on a scam.
Yeah, we haven't thought about that, but we should. Thanks for bringing that to my attention. Anybody else?
David.
So you talked about AI and how the criminals are using it. Is there any AI things that are advantageous to work against the scammer?
very good. I know with our agency, and I know Beavercreek PD is at the senior out, but we're really just getting into the beginning of AI as far as how it's going to help us in our jobs. So I don't know and haven't used any, but I'm sure that that's the cutting edge of things that we can do to protect ourselves. But we're getting ready to do some things within our agency that's closed loop AI. Basically, it's all information that we put into AI to kind of understand, to do our job better. But I'm not aware, to be quite honest, of anything that's out there, but it would be really good because I know that it's just gonna keep getting harder and harder with the AI. So like I say, I learn something new every day. And like I say, this morning I was learning about some of the things that detectives will do because it's trying to keep up with everything that people are doing in these regards. But AI can be a big benefit.
I think Representative Lane for that question.
Yes, sir.
It's not a question, it's a reality. So if you're shopping, for example, for a car and or you're selling your car and somebody offers you full price, cash price, and basically say they're going to wire you the money, and somebody comes and gets the car, and basically you now have given your keys over, they've taken your car away, and the cashier's check they hand you is either no good, or the wire money never comes. Could you then say, oh crap, my car's been stolen. So you report it to your insurance. Insurance won't cover it because you gave your keys to the bad guy. Oh, gee. The check they handed you was fraud, and you can exercise your rights that way. But since you gave them your keys, it wasn't a theft.
But it is still
Per
a
se.
crime.
Wow. It is a crime.
It is a
So
crime.
definitely report it.
A report.
But and if you're buying a car online, be extremely careful. I had a customer that lost $80,000, on a classic car he thought he was getting. And he wired the money, and the car never existed, and he never got it. He's out.
Eric, I was gonna say, there's two things I don't think you mentioned. One is, you can't trust the ads on Facebook. It's such a good deal,
Right.
you buy it,
Yeah.
it may not be what you think you're getting. I bought some wine glasses about a year or so ago that were a good price. I charged the $80 on my credit card, and I got a $1 little thing in the mail. They came like 3 weeks later, not wine glasses. And then you go back and try and get your money back from the credit card company, and it's really hard. The second thing is that when you get an email and it's from somebody demanding something or whatever it is, look at the address. The government does not use Gmail accounts. So the email address, and make sure that it looks like this, a legitimate email address. If it's a business, put in www in them, and the other part of the email before .com or .gov or whatever it is, and see if there's a website. So that you know that it's legit.
If you haven't put eyeballs on it yourself, you should be wary of it, no matter what it is. And I mean, that's true for Facebook Marketplace. It's true for Tinder or Bumble. It's true for whatever it is that you're accessing on the internet. If you haven't put eyeballs on it, it's probably, you should just assume that you should be suspicious. That's all.
You'll get the toll scams. There's a whole other list of ones. You're gonna get the package scams, the toll
We have
scams.
one last question.
You've never been?
Yes, sir.
So, you have those scam data, hackers that will try to gain information from the market and turn it over to law enforcement. From the law enforcement side, do those people help or hinder potential arrests, lawsuits, things of that nature?
I haven't had a lot of experience with those groups providing us information, that I'm aware of.
No, we haven't had a lot of experience with it either. All right, thank you, everybody. Very good. You turn up.
Oh,
What about, I think there was.
thank you very much. We appreciate all that good information and stuff. We all need to be on cars who, I got time to sit around thinking of this stuff. There's probably some people in prison doing it. I don't know if there is or not.
Let's hope not.
Oh, there, we've got a book to present. This is, we always, donate a book in honor of the, speakers. And, Scott, if you, Dave, come on. This book is, what is the Supreme Court? I know they're not talking about the Supreme Court, but they're talking about the law. And that's good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. But, Terry, a lot of good information. Is there anything else to be brought up today?
Yes, sir.
Luke, y'all right to the pledge? For later? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Which is stand. Don't have a Yeah, Rhoda and Brady for rain stand, you know.